Hey guys, Josh here. I'm doing some revision to the cash register book. The last time I did a video, it was in May or April, and I've had to make a lot of changes. This project, just for a refresher, this project is for a billiards club in Germany. I'm donating some time to help them digitize their cash register, and I've installed a terminal, laptop there, and a mouse and everything, and they can use that to act. And they have internet already, so they can use that to access the Google Cloud. And so the solution that I chose for all the cashiers, there's over 35 people that are going to be interacting with this. Was the system that you see on the screen. It's basically a spreadsheet that replicates exactly what they were doing on paper. And so I started in April. I did a week of trial and error, just seeing, we were still on paper, but we also had this up in April. And now we're almost through May. So today is the 29th. And so the book's been running the whole month and it's been successful. But I've been getting a lot of feedback from the users and I'm trying to respond to that feedback. And I hope that by the time what you see on the screen is going to be the July version. And so I hope that by the time July comes, I'll have everything ironed out. So one of the things I just did was I had to add a lot more columns because the buttons, these red and green buttons, were not tracking well across the page. Sometimes you would scroll and they wouldn't line up correctly with like row 2. A button might be floating up here in the top or something like that. So what I had to do was add all of these additional columns, which changed all the formulas. And so one thing that I've really learned is that I have a daily template and a monthly template, and I've learned how kind of managing those templates is super important because if they're not managed properly, it's a lot more work. So, I have this folder here in the Google Drive, and I've made a July revisions, and I've copied the daily template. Here's the current daily template into the July revisions folder to make my revisions that I have planned for July. Um, Potentially, if there's a big mistake, uh, the and I would make a mistake and have to go to the monthly template and correct that mistake. The mistake could propagate 31 times through the monthly template. So it's really critical. Like the daily template is just 100% accurate. And so I just kind of wanted to show how this workflow looks like. It's very time consuming, and I went through and added all these buttons here, and that looks like this. So now the buttons will track properly because they're actually loaded into a cell. I think this is a relatively new feature that Google has added. So what you do is you go insert, image, in cell instead of over cell. And so image in cell, and then browse, and then click the image that you want to put inside the cell. So there, the image is now in the cell and it will always track properly when you scroll your mouse up and down. So I'm going to delete that. Now I only have 13 rows. At one point I did a lot of work and I propagated all these rows with these little JPEG files. As you can see, those are little tiny JPEG files that I'm importing in that I created with Paint. And when you have lots of little files, each one has to be downloaded. So if they were all big, maybe it's like 1 meg, but when they're all like little 5 kilobit files, those transactions, those download and upload transactions take place, and it really lags everything because if you wanted to change from sheet 1 to sheet 2 or something, it's got to go download number 1, download number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and start all these little downloads. And so it would take a long time. So I would have preferred to have the buttons throughout the whole sheet. It's a one-time job, but it lagged for my users, and also, certain browsers were worse than others. We found that Chromium, Edge, and Chrome work the best with, they're from Google. Well, Microsoft makes Edge, but it's called Chromium Edge for a reason. So Chromium Edge and Edge load these pages the best and with the most accuracy. But so in response to my users telling me like, yeah, the buttons sometimes didn't track properly, I'm going through and fixing all that. So that process that you saw me do, I had to do it for every single one of these buttons. And now I am going to show the process of assigning scripts to these buttons and editing scripts to correct them. Now you can see the first column is going to be G, that actually contains data, J, M, P, S, and V. And those columns were not the same before. So I'm going to come to, well, let me back out so I can show how to get here. So I come to extensions and I go to the app script. And here's my book, and you can see all these. I call this I have labeled, commented this as the F functions. So I'm going to start at the end and work my way back, because otherwise some of these are going to overlap. So starting at the K field, formerly K, what is formerly K is now going to become V, I believe. So I'm going to change this from the K functions to the V functions. And these just add increment or decrement on the buttons. And so I'm going to highlight all this, and I'm going to hit Control X and cut that out. And then I'm going to come to my Notepad++. And I brought it into my Notepad++. And so increment K is going to become increment V. And I'm going to replace all those. And then decrement K is going to become decrement V. I'm going to replace all those. And actually I could have just done K becomes V. And I'll probably do that next time, but this is my first time, so. And then I'm gonna Control A, Control X. I'm gonna come back here where I have the V functions and Control V. So now I've changed K to V. Increment V2, get the range V2, value +1, V2, V2, V2. Decrement V2, value -1. So that looks good. So then I can do J. So I'll X that out. Let's look at what J was. J now became S. So come back here, Control F. Let's try our new way. J becomes S. Replace all. 91. So it was 91 changes just occurred when I did that. So hopefully that's good. Control A, Control X, come back, Control V, and the S functions are done. Now we're working right to left, so let's get all these I functions. Control X, Notepad, Control V, and so VSP. So now we're on P, so replace I becomes P. Replace all. Ooh, 100. Oh, yeah. See, that one's not going to work. And now, yeah, that one's not going to work. There's capital I's. So I have to be more specific. So I have to delete all this. Oop. And repaste it. Yeah, I wasn't matching the case. I need to be really careful that I didn't already screw up. Okay, I becomes P again. 0. Why? Maybe because I did that. Yep, there we go. Okay, 92. Some of these I may have messed them up already. But this one looks pretty good. I just need to make sure I do match case. Surprised that wasn't, I thought that was already turned on. So X, back here. If I did mess up, I have so many copies. I'm actually editing in a copy, and so I have so many copies that I can correct. I think they should be okay, but if they're not, I need to remember P was the first one I did correctly. So there's P. P should be good. Oop. We got one extra letter there, but that's just in a comment. So let's look at H. H. Select all the H functions, cut them, and H becomes M. H becomes M. 91. So it's a little bit concerning that the last, oh, it got 92 because it had changed the I in this. So 91 is the correct. So anything that got more than 91, we have a problem, Houston. So I think we have 2 more to go. So the M functions are done. And let's look at the G. G becomes J. G becomes J. 91, that looks good. And the F functions, this is the last one. And F becomes G. F becomes G. 92, hopefully that's gunctions, G gunctions. And then we save. So now I've got all the increment functions that get assigned to those buttons updated. So you right click the button. Oops. This is different. Let's see. And this might be where we find out it doesn't work. Usually when you click an image, like if I right click this guy, see the 3 buttons right there are what allow you to assign a script. So with the new inside cell version, I'm not seeing the three buttons appear that I can actually assign those scripts to these buttons, which is what I need to do. So this might be a failure, but anyways, the video might be useful, so maybe I'll upload it. And if I solve this problem, have to research this and see if I can solve this problem. Thanks.